Hi everyone, my name is Deeya Bodas, and today I'm here to talk to all of you about how to make a hackathon pitch. I am a freshman at UAUC, and I'm also on the marketing and outreach teams for HackIllinois. So I'm really excited to share this with you today, and let's get into it. So first things first, here's a quick little overview of all of the slides that we're going to be going through today. And all the concepts that I'm going to be talking about during this workshop. First of all, we're going to start off with talking about how to make a pitch itself. This is like the verbal portion. Then we're going to talk about how to make a slideshow, because most pitches are accompanied by a slideshow. After that, we'll go over how you would probably want to make a demo for a hackathon project. And then finally, we will discuss judging. So the first section is giving a pitch and what you should include. So what is a hackathon pitch, and why do they matter so much for your hackathon projects? So technically, a hackathon pitch is usually a 1 to 5 minute presentation at the end of an event where attendees showcase their projects to the judges and usually use a combination of slideshow slides and project demonstrations, which are like live or video versions of showing your project in action. But really, pitches are so much more than that. Like in business, you really have to sell your idea. And at some events, they are actually part of your overall score. Pitches are really important because they determine if your project and your team will win a prize. And you really want to make sure that you do this part of your project well and give it as much attention as you would the actual coding as well. So why does presentation matter so much in a hackathon pitch? Well, it's one of the first things that anyone sees when they meet you, like how you present yourself. So competitive hackathon environment, that matters a lot, especially when the judges are likely meeting you for the first time through your pitch. So now we're going to be talking about what makes a good pitch. A good pitch has 4 main aspects. You want it to be memorable. You want it to be unique and something that judges will really remember at the end of the day, because they will see a lot of pitches in one day. You want to make sure it's short. Long pitches are pretty boring and they often cover too much information. You want to make it informative, of course, and passionate. You want to make it really sound like you believe in your project, you believe that it'll be necessary in the future, and that you love it, which you should because you've worked hard on it. And down below, I've also listed a few ideas for like a general structure you might want to follow when assembling your like hackathon pitch. First of all, I would suggest you start off with a quick introduction of your team and all of your names, and then introduce the problem which your project aims to solve. Not every single hackathon project has a problem that it aims to solve, but if yours does, this is probably the right time to introduce it. And then of course you want to talk about your solution or your project, and then show its features with a demo. Then if you get the chance to, I would suggest discussing any further potential improvements and implementations, because judges really like to see that you plan on taking this a step forward and that you are invested in your project. And of course, discuss any additional details, things that didn't really fit in quite with anything else in the beginning, you still believe are important to add. And then finally, you want to conclude and remember to say thank you. Here are a few quick pitch preparation tips. I've done quite a few hackathon pitches, and I would say that these are all things that I like to keep in mind, and they really help me. Tip number 1, practice a lot. If you plan to sleep during the event, I would suggest you do a run through before and after just to retain your information. And keep in mind that you only get 1 shot. So you want to make sure you're really well rehearsed. And part of this rehearsal also includes looking over the technological aspects of your pitch and presentation ahead of time, which includes if looking at pre-recorded videos, if you have to record anything ahead of time, figuring out how you would project your slides onto a TV if you need to, or how to submit the slides, just because you want to make sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible and as much as you can in your control, of course. 2, split it up amongst your group members. Make sure everyone has an opportunity to speak, even if they aren't the most confident on stage. The judges really want to see a team effort. And play to your strengths. Choose like who speaks about what based off of who knows most about what aspects of the project. So someone's really passionate about the demo, it's probably best if they did that aspect of your pitch. 3, practice in front of other people so that they can time you A, and B, give you feedback on things about your pitch. I would suggest asking other attendees. If you have other friends at the event who aren't on your team, that'd be a good idea to they'd be a good idea to ask. Or you could ask certain team members too if they are taking a second to just take a break. They can time the rest of you and give you feedback on your portions of the pitch. And then finally, this tip I would say is the most helpful for me. I suggest having a backup plan. Timing stuff live is very difficult, and no matter how much you practice, you can mess it up. I definitely have. Sometimes I speak slower in front of like people, and I know definitely that some people speak faster when they're nervous. So make sure that you have a backup plan for what you may potentially want to remove from your presentation if it runs too long. Quickly going back to the previous slide, I would suggest that if you feel like you're running out of time during the actual presentation itself, plan to cut down on areas 5 and 6 down here, just because I feel like those are things that are nice to have but not necessary. And I also do suggest having written out index cards in case there are any technical issues. That's probably just the best way to ensure that you have your speaker notes with you if you're planning to use them. All right, up next, I'm going to be quickly going over the slideshow portion of a hackathon pitch. It's, once again, the slideshow is optional, but highly recommended and is generally used. So here I have a little table of do's and don'ts just to kind of go over the main points. Some things that you should do, I would highly recommend using a pre-made template. Remember to give credit because it will save you a lot of time and energy. I've seen people attempt to make custom graphics and sometimes they pull it off, but it will take a lot of time. And you want to focus more of that time onto the quality of your pitch and the project itself. I also do recommend that you utilize the speaker notes feature or have written index cards. It's better to have notes on what you want to say and what you want to add rather than cramming all of your information onto a slide. And then also remember to add pictures and use a mixture of text and media. So keep your presentation from being dull. And if you have hardware components to your project, it'd be a nice way to show off some of those things. A few don'ts. Don't make your text hard to read. I feel like this is a pretty basic point, but don't use white text on a yellow background, for example. It'll make it really hard to read, and it's never fun to try to figure out what the slide behind someone's saying while you're listening to their pitch. And also don't cram text onto slides. It gets really boring. It's okay to have like 10 to 15 slides for a 3-minute presentation if you keep them text light. And breaking up your text is a great way to keep your viewers engaged and keep people from losing themselves in the slides. Up next, I'm going to be talking about the demos that most of you will probably have for your projects. So something that I hear asked a lot is, what should my demo cover? So real quick, I'm going to cover that, and then I'm going to go over a few do's and don'ts for demos. But your demo should generally be a glimpse into your hackathon project's general use and your team's technical skill. So demos can be live or a video, and their format may depend on the event itself. Generally though, a demo should cover these main ideas. First of all, you want to cover how the user uses the project. You basically want to show the judges how well laid out your project is for the user. You want to show the main features, of course, go over what you want to make sure the judges will see and understand. They, of course, will review your code later, but point out the main things for the judges in the demo so that they can ask questions and that they can see your vision for those features. And then third, you want to make sure that you can show what your project is capable of achieving. In case you build something like a data sorting algorithm or something large scale that's not really made for like a daily use type of a thing, you might want to show your algorithm sorting stuff live or use data to discuss its runtime and other things if you can't run something like that live because of its size. And so just keep that in mind, or maybe like pre-tape the video and like speed it up to play during your demo portion so you have something to show. And Finally, you want to make sure that your demo stands out, and you can do this by giving it the same enthusiasm as the rest of your pitch and focus on how your project is creating a solution. Real quick here, a couple of do's and don'ts for demos. I would suggest showing a typical user experience if that's relevant to make it realistic. If your demo is live, make sure to account for questions and have your project ready to demo again. Sometimes people will ask, oh, can I see that one part of your demo again? So make sure you know how to set it up to demo it again right after your presentation or during even. Practice your demo as part of the pitch, run through it and plan on anticipating technical issues just as you would with any other part of your pitch. And if you don't have a silent demo, make sure to explain your project as you go. It's never really fun to just watch someone click a bunch of buttons without knowing exactly what they're doing or what the purpose of that is. So make sure to explain stuff as you go on. And don't show every feature in depth. Focus on the important ones because demos are mainly supposed to give you like a quick glimpse instead of a full length overview, which can take a little too much time during a hackathon pitch. All right, and finally, we are going to talk about judging and what you should expect and anticipate when it comes to judging. So what will judges be looking for? Judges are there to see what you have accomplished during the event. So don't worry if you haven't created an entire project, simply run through what you did achieve during your pitch and maybe discuss where you go from there. Here are a few things to anticipate and know about judging. First of all, they may have questions, so anticipate answering those. They really want to see why your project deserves to win. So they might ask you questions about things you didn't prepare for in your pitch. So just make sure that everyone in your group is ready to talk about stuff, or you have someone designated to answer certain kinds of questions ahead of time. They may be looking at the technical difficulty of your project. So they might want to discuss your project's complexity, your project's components, languages, and what resources used to build it. And they will definitely look at your code and your project's inner workings. So in terms of a pitch, this means that you shouldn't worry too much about explaining things in extreme detail. They will have the chance to read it for themselves. But you really want to focus on showing them the most interesting features and parts of your project that are the most important to the solution it's creating. And they may also be looking at how well your project fits into the category if your project is part of a category with a theme. So make sure to indicate why your solution works for the category or categories that you've applied for, if that's relevant. And finally, they also want to see your passion for the project. So you want to indicate why it matters to your team, and of course, discuss future growth and potential for your project so that they really know that you see this project going somewhere. All right, that's all. Thank you all so much for listening and good luck at HackIllinois 2022. Real quick, this presentation template was made by SlidesGo, so thank you so much for the resource and make sure to sign up for HackIllinois. Check the link in the description below for more information on HackIllinois and how you can sign up. Bye, everyone.